The Andy Griffith Show, 1960 to 1968, brought warmth, laughter, and a slice of small-town life into millions of American homes. Set in the charming town of Mayberry, the series captured hearts with its gentle humor, moral lessons, and unforgettable characters. But while the show remains a timeless classic, the real-life stories of many of its beloved cast members are far more bittersweet. Over the years, several stars have sadly passed away, some quietly, others under tragic circumstances. In this heartfelt tribute, we remember the actors whose talent made Mayberry come alive, and whose absence still echoes in the hearts of fans around the world. Andy Griffith, who portrayed Sheriff Andy Taylor from 1960 to 1968, was 34 years old when he first stepped into the role of the calm, level-headed widowed sheriff of Mayberry. Beloved for his fatherly wisdom and dry humor, Andy became the moral compass of the show. Behind the scenes, however, Griffith's life was shadowed by heartbreak and personal loss. He was married 3 times, first to Barbara Edwards, with whom he had 2 adopted children, Sam and Dixie. His marriage to Edwards ended in 1972 after years of tension, and his relationship with his troubled son Sam, who died of alcoholism in 1996, left lasting scars. Griffith struggled with alcoholism himself in the 1970s and dealt with crippling nerve pain later in life. Although he experienced a late career resurgence with Matlock, the pressures of fame and a reclusive personality isolated him. His third marriage to Cindy Knight brought some peace in his final years. Andy died in 2012 at the age of 86 from a heart attack at his home in North Carolina. His estate, including his private island and real estate holdings, was estimated at $60 million. He was buried just hours after his death in a private family cemetery, as per his request. Don Knotts, who played the neurotic and lovably inept Deputy Barney Fife from 1960 to 1965, was 36 when he joined the show. His twitchy, over-the-top performance won him 5 Emmy Awards and cemented his place as a comedic icon. Yet, Knotts' personal life was far from laughter. He was married 3 times, first to Catherine Metz, with whom he had 2 children, Thomas and Karen. The marriage ended in 1966 after years of emotional distance and his obsessive focus on work. Knotts later married Laura Lee Chuckna, but the relationship deteriorated due to his worsening hypochondria and insecurities. Professionally, he struggled after the Andy Griffith Show, unable to secure the kind of leading roles he craved. He suffered from chronic depression and battled macular degeneration, which left him nearly blind in later years. Despite remarrying to Frances Yarborough in 2002, he spent his last days in a weakened state, often isolated despite public adoration. Knotts died in 2006 at age 81 from pulmonary and respiratory complications. His estate was valued at approximately $20 million, a quiet reward for a man who often felt overshadowed by his own insecurities. Frances Bavier, remembered as the sweet yet stern Aunt B. Taylor from 1960 to 1968, was already 58 years old when she began the role. Her character was the heart of Mayberry's domestic warmth, but her real life was far colder. Bavier never married and lived most of her life in solitude. Behind her motherly facade, she was known on set as difficult and aloof, often clashing with castmates. After the series ended, she retired from acting and withdrew from public life, moving to a small home in Siler City, North Carolina, where she lived with dozens of cats. Her final years were marred by loneliness and health issues, including arthritis and depression. She had no children, no known romantic relationships, and very few close friends. Reports indicated she became a recluse, refusing visitors and speaking bitterly about Hollywood. Despite her reclusive nature, she was honored by the town she lived in before her death. Frances Bavier died in 1989 at the age of 86 from congestive heart failure and other chronic conditions. Her estate, consisting mostly of modest real estate and savings, was estimated at just under $700,000. George Lindsay, who played the affable and dim-witted Goober Pyle from 1964 to 1968, was 35 when he joined the show. Goober, with his trademark hat and goofy grin, became a fan favorite for his childlike enthusiasm. Off-screen, Lindsay struggled with the legacy of being typecast. Though he continued the role in Hee Haw and spin-offs, he yearned for more serious parts that never came. He married Joy Ann Herbert in 1955, and they had 2 children, Camden and George Jr., but the marriage ended in 1991 after years of growing emotional and physical distance. Lindsay faced depression and anxiety as the comedic spotlight faded. He found some solace in charity work, particularly with Special Olympics, but privately battled obesity and heart disease. His strained relationship with his children was a source of lasting regret. In his later years, he remained in Nashville, quietly mentoring young comedians while managing declining health. George Lindsay died in 2012 at the age of 83 from heart failure. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at $500,000, a modest sum reflective of his uneven career after Mayberry. Howard McNear, who portrayed the quirky and endearing barber Floyd Lawson from 1961 to 1967, was 56 when he took on the role. Floyd's absent-minded chatter and gentle humor made him one of the town's most beloved characters. Yet McNear's real life took a tragic turn in 1963 when he suffered a debilitating stroke that left the left side of his body paralyzed. Despite the health challenges, producers reworked scenes so he could sit or lean, allowing him to continue appearing on the show. The stroke marked the beginning of a decline both personally and professionally. Married to Helen Spatz, they had 1 son, Christopher. The stress of McNear's condition placed immense strain on his family. After leaving the show in 1967, his health rapidly worsened, and he withdrew from public appearances. Friends noted his deep frustration at losing his independence and creative drive. McNear died in 1969 at age 63 from complications of pneumonia following years of deteriorating health. His estate was modest, valued at around $200,000, and much of it went to cover medical expenses accumulated during his final years. Annetta Corsott, who portrayed Helen Crump, the poised and intelligent schoolteacher who captured Sheriff Andy Taylor's heart from 1963 to 1968, was 30 when she joined the Andy Griffith Show. Though her on-screen romance with Andy Griffith charmed audiences, her real life remained far more complicated. Never married, Corsott was long rumored to have had a secret affair with Griffith during filming, which allegedly contributed to the tension on set and affected her personal fulfillment. She had no children and often confided in friends that her career had become her only companion. After the series ended, she struggled to find meaningful roles, making sporadic appearances in minor television parts. Financial instability haunted her later years, and she lived modestly in Studio City, California. Corsott was known for her reclusive nature in her final decade, reportedly battling cancer in silence. She passed away in 1995 at the age of 62 due to complications from cancer. At the time of her death, her estate was valued at an estimated $300,000, much of it tied to residuals and modest property holdings. Despite the personal sorrows she endured, Corsott remains beloved for her grace and warmth on screen. Jack Dodson, who brought the socially awkward yet good-natured Howard Sprague to life from 1966 to 1968, joined the cast in his mid-30s. Known for his character's fastidious habits and struggle for independence from his domineering mother, Dodson imbued Howard with vulnerability and comedic timing. Off-screen, however, Dodson's life was laced with quiet turmoil. He was married to actress Mary Dodson, with whom he had 1 son, but the marriage was rocky, strained by Jack's constant touring and the pressure of typecasting after the show ended. He found it difficult to secure work beyond side roles and voiceovers, which led to bouts of depression. His relationship with his son reportedly became distant, as Jack retreated into himself during the final decade of his life. He died in 1994 at age 63 from heart failure. At the time of his death, his net worth was modest, estimated at around $400,000, consisting mostly of savings and small royalties. Though his career never reached the heights he hoped for, Dodson is remembered fondly for portraying one of Mayberry's most memorable citizens. Betty Lynn, the sweet-natured actress behind Thelma Lou, Barney Fife's ever-patient girlfriend, lit up Mayberry with her charm from 1961 to 1966. Born in Kansas City, she began performing for USO tours before moving into acting. By the time she joined the Andy Griffith Show, she was in her mid-30s. Though beloved on screen, her real life was marked by heartache and solitude. She never married and had no children, stating later in life that she never found the right one. After the show, Betty found roles scarce and returned to a quiet life, moving to Mount Airy, North Carolina. She lived modestly and endured numerous health issues, including a broken hip and chronic pain that left her housebound in her final years. Despite this, she remained gracious, often attending fan events until her health declined. She passed away in 2021 at the age of 95 due to complications from illness. Her estate, estimated at $500,000, was left primarily to local arts programs. Her tragic loneliness never diminished her gentle spirit, and she is remembered as a true Southern lady who gave the world a beloved character. Jim Nabors, the actor who played the lovable, simple-minded Gomer Pyle from 1962 to 1964 before spinning off into his own show, was 32 when he first stepped into the role. Gomer's good-natured innocence contrasted sharply with Nabors' complex private life. A closeted gay man during a time of strict Hollywood taboos, Nabors kept much of his personal life hidden for decades. Though he found success with Gomer Pyle, USMC, his career later stagnated due to persistent typecasting. He lived quietly with his partner, Stan Cadwallader, whom he married in 2013 after over 38 years together. The couple had no children, and Nabors spent much of his life isolated on his macadamia nut farm in Hawaii. Despite his cheerful public image, he reportedly battled depression and feelings of loneliness. He died in 2017 at age 87 from natural causes following health complications, including liver failure. At the time of his death, Nabors' estate was valued at approximately $15 million, largely due to smart investments and property. Though his fame came from playing a naive mechanic, Nabors' real life was one of introspection and quiet resilience. Maggie Peterson, best known as Charlene Darling, the musically gifted mountain girl with a romantic eye for Sheriff Taylor, joined the Andy Griffith Show in 1963. She was 22 at the time and brought a bright, youthful energy to the role. However, her early stardom faded quickly. After her stint as Charlene ended, Maggie struggled to find steady acting work. She married jazz musician Gus Mancuso in 1978, and while the marriage was reportedly loving, they were never able to have children, a source of personal sadness for her. After Gus passed away in 2021, Maggie's health and finances declined rapidly. She suffered from severe mobility issues and had to be moved into an assisted living facility with the help of fan donations. She was said to have battled deep depression after her husband's death, feeling forgotten by the industry that once celebrated her. She passed away in 2022 at the age of 81 from complications related to long-term illness. Her net worth at death was under $100,000, and much of her final care was funded by a public GoFundMe campaign. Her story remains a haunting reminder of fame's fleeting nature. Hal Smith, who played the lovable town drunk Otis Campbell on The Andy Griffith Show, was 44 when he first appeared in 1960. His portrayal of Otis, a well-meaning, harmless alcoholic who regularly checked himself into the Mayberry jail, became iconic for its humorous yet gentle depiction of small-town flaws. Off-screen, however, Smith's life was far from comedic. He was married to Louise C. Smith until her death in 1992, and they had one son, Terry. After his wife's passing, Smith reportedly fell into a deep depression and became increasingly reclusive, battling health issues and loneliness in his final years. Professionally, he struggled to find serious roles after The Andy Griffith Show, often relegated to voice acting in cartoons, a far cry from his early ambitions. He was said to have endured several strokes before dying from a heart attack in 1994 at age 77. Tragically, he spent his last birthday alone in his apartment in Santa Monica. Though cheerful in public, Smith often confided in friends about regrets over a stalled film career and years spent typecast as Otis. His net worth at the time of death was estimated around $800,000, and most of his estate went to his son, with some portions donated to veteran charities, reflecting Smith's military service in World War II. Denver Pyle, who played the rugged, banjo-strumming patriarch Briscoe Darling, first appeared in 1963 at age 43. Briscoe was a gruff but strangely charming mountain man whose outdated ways clashed humorously with Mayberry's order. Off-camera, Pyle's life was marked by quiet heartbreak. He was married to Marilee Carpenter, a production assistant, from 1955 until their divorce in 1970. They had no children, though Pyle reportedly supported several nieces and nephews financially. After the Andy Griffith Show, Pyle saw some success in shows like The Dukes of Hazzard, but was frequently cast in similar rural roles. He later confessed in interviews that he longed for more serious work and struggled with feelings of typecasting. In his later years, he was diagnosed with lung cancer but kept the illness private. He died in 1997 at age 77, only weeks after marrying his longtime partner Tippi Johnston, in what many believe was a last effort to leave his estate protected. Friends said he was often melancholic in his final years, feeling unfulfilled despite decades of fame. His net worth at death was estimated around $5 million, largely from wise real estate investments and oil royalties in Texas, not acting. Rance Howard, who appeared in various small roles between 1965 and 1967, was 37 when he joined the Andy Griffith Show. Though never a household name, he was deeply respected in the industry as a character actor and the father of famed director Ron Howard. Rance's life was defined by support for his family's careers, often at the expense of his own. He was married to actress Jean Spiegel Howard until her death in 2000. They had two sons, Ron and Clint Howard, whom Rance mentored into Hollywood from a young age. While his family rose to stardom, Rance remained largely in the background, struggling financially in the 1970s and even working part-time jobs between roles. He once confessed to friends that he sometimes felt overshadowed, yet took pride in his son's success. Despite enduring multiple tragedies, including Jean's long battle with cancer and estrangement from some family members in later years, Rance continued acting into his 80s. He died in 2017 at age 89 from natural causes. He was remembered as a humble, tireless worker in the industry. His estate was modest, estimated at $1 million, but his legacy endured in the thriving careers of his children. Parley Baer, who portrayed Mayor Roy Stoner, often misremembered as Roy Henshaw, from 1963 to 1968, was 51 when he took on the role. His character was a stickler for rules, often clashing with Andy's easygoing style of leadership. In contrast to his orderly character, Baer's personal life was more chaotic. He was married to circus performer and radio actress Ernestine Clark for over 50 years, yet their relationship was often described as strained by friends due to long periods of separation and artistic differences. They had no children, and Baer admitted in interviews that his intense focus on his radio and television career may have cost him a closer family life. After the Andy Griffith Show, Baer remained active in radio dramas but found on-screen roles increasingly scarce, leading to financial difficulty in the late 1970s. He suffered several health issues later in life, including a debilitating stroke in 2001 that left him unable to speak. He died in 2002 at age 88 due to complications from a stroke. A quiet man who kept many regrets to himself, Baer's estate was estimated at roughly $500,000, most of which went to his widow, who herself died a few years later in relative obscurity. Which character from the Andy Griffith Show, TV series 1960 to 1968, holds a special place in your heart? How does it make you feel knowing that some of the beloved cast members are no longer with us? We'd love to hear your thoughts. Feel free to share them in the comments below. If you've been enjoying this content, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. Thank you for watching.